What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about a very simple but very important concept. And that is, as you can see in my lovely handwriting here, the unhappy space. Who's ever felt themselves in the unhappy space? It happens to everybody. Now, what we're going to define the unhappy space as, it's this gap, right? So you can see I've drawn it with the lovely arrows here. It's the gap between where you are and your attachment to where you think you should be. So it's not the gap simply between where you are and where you would like to be. It's a very subtle but very important difference. The gap is between where you are and your attachment to where you think you should be. So there's this idea that where you are isn't good enough and that you should be somewhere else. And then you're attached to that idea. And where you are is where you are. There is nothing anyone can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing this course can do about it. Like, no one can change where you are right at this moment because you are where you are. So that's basically already the right answer. Like, you have to accept your starting point. You have to be okay with where you're beginning. You have to build on a foundation, and you have to know what that foundation is, and it's where you are. We've spent time in the course looking at, okay, where is my habits right now? Where am I actually right now? That's what the beginning of the course focused around, is figuring out where we're starting from. It just is what it is, guys. So the unhappy space happens when we waste time thinking that we shouldn't be where we are. I mean, imagine you're a builder and your job is to build a house, and the land that the couple bought that they're having you build on is a little bit crooked and a little bit on a hill. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge. You're going to have to figure out how to lay the foundation and make the parts that are, a bit lower than you would have preferred them to be higher. And that's just the way it is. This is the land that you have to build on. Now, any amount of time that you spend thinking about how you wish the land was flat, and how if you were that couple, you would have bought a flat plot of land, and kind of just bemoaning the situation, unhappy space. You can't do anything with that. So you have to simply accept where you are. And this is the foundation, the one thing that's core truth throughout all personal growth and personal development, is you must accept your starting point. You can't run a race if you don't know where the starting line is. So being willing to accept where you are and let go. Like, I'm gonna write it in big black letters. And the board is moving as I write this. Let go. You have to let go of the attachment to where you should be. And I could write here already. Because as I said, you are where you are. And this all seems semantics, theoretical. But what I would ask you is, when you're going through your life, how often, if you catch yourself feeling unhappy, is it because you don't like where you are? You're thinking about going to the gym, but you don't feel like going. Is it because you wish you were already in better shape? You wish you weren't going to go there and feel so out of shape? Or you look in the mirror and you wish you were already looking fitter, looking better? Or you sit down to study and you wish you already knew more of the answers? You wish you were already sure of so many more spots than you are? You wish your bankroll was already higher than it is? All of these things, I wish I was there already. I should have been there already. I'm attached to this idea that there was a right answer in life and I didn't get it, and therefore I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I've done something wrong. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Where you are right now is the exact result of your life up until this point, and it just is what it is. So there is no point in feeling any sort of special way about it. It should have been better, should have been worse. It just is as it is, and that's all. And any time spent in the should have been, would have been, could have been is the unhappy space. My wrestling coach used to talk about this. Like, you always meet people who would talk about what they should have done, or what they could have done, or what they would have done, but they didn't. And he called this the shoulda, woulda, coulda club. And he'd always say, you don't want to be in the shoulda, woulda, coulda club. You want to be in the I did club. So in order to get into the I did club, the I accomplished club, you have to just let go of the attachment to your identity around being a shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because people who think they should be somewhere already, that's what they talk about. That's what they think about. That's what their life is about. It's about where they should be. They're living a mental projection. They're living their life, and instead of focusing on the life that's happening, where they actually are and making the best they can of that, they have this projection of like what the life they're not living, what like this ideal life that they never got to and aren't getting to, what that should have been like if they didn't make mistakes, if they made different choices than they made, if things were different. But things aren't different. Things are as they are. So they live their whole life in this unhappy space because they're always focused on where they should have been already. So what I want to get across in this video, where you are is where you are. Now, we will do meditations in this course, visualizations in this course, where we project ourselves mentally into our ideal life and start feeling into that with our emotions. That's different. That's where we're reprogramming ourselves to build coordination with a different version of reality so we can bring it into this reality. That is part of changing where you are. Start building the identity around where you are based on where you know that this point is going to. So where we are becomes this whole journey where we do not neglect our starting point. So when we practice the visualizations and we practice feeling into our desired future now point, where we have the life and we have the behaviors and we have the habits and strategies and feelings about ourselves that we ultimately want to cultivate, we are honoring the starting point and we are honoring the trajectory. The shoulda, woulda, coulda club doesn't honor the trajectory. It doesn't honor the starting point. It's attached to where it thinks it should be already. And it's just basically, why try to be better when I should have already been better? It's very demotivating. So this is a very core important difference. And the reason I made this video is just so if you catch yourself unhappy, which I'm sure happens to all of us, just ask yourself, what am I thinking about? Because chances are you're thinking about how things should have been. She shouldn't have said that. We should still be together. This should have worked out. This pasta should have been warmer. It's all a rejection of the present moment. It's all attachment to an idea about how you wanted things to go. And attachment is the root of all suffering. An attachment to a way it should have worked out is a denial of reality. And if you want to feel at peace, you have to surrender to what is. So being willing to accept the glorious present moment, however it comes, that is the strategy to having peace all the time. And it's hard to be peacefully unhappy. If you're at peace, you're not unhappy. If you're unhappy, you're not at peace. So understand where the unhappy space comes from. That difference between where you are and your attachments to where you think you should have been. And just ask yourself, what good can possibly come from my attachments to denying the present moment? If I have an attachment to where I think I should have been, I have an attachment to denying now. It's a habit of mine to deny the now. It's a habit of mine to deny life, to say no to life, to say, no, I don't accept this. I don't accept the way things are. And if you want to change, the core of personal change is to accept the things you cannot change. And the number one thing you cannot change is the way things already are. You can change the way things are going. You can say this was like one of those tools, like a compass in a math class. You can change the trajectory. You can change the angle that we're going to shoot off from. But we are still shooting off from here, where we are. We're pew, pew, pew. Like, where do we want to shoot? We chose here. This was our now point that we thought about when we were about to go to bed, and we thought about it in the morning. We visualize it twice a day, and we think so much about it, and we feel so much into it, and we really believe it's going to happen. That's great. We programmed our rocket launch, but we never didn't accept where we were. And we never spent our time pointing the rocket backwards in the past and thinking about mistakes and thinking about, oh, woe is me, because I shouldn't be here. I should already be here. I already wanted to be here. It's not fair. Well, you're not going to get here by wishing, hoping, dreaming, and crying. You can get here by building, aiming, and firing. So that's the download for today. If you catch yourself in the unhappy space, ask yourself, what attachment is making me unhappy right now? What am I attached to that makes me unhappy? And it's probably an image of how you want life to be and the gap between how it is. And the moment you stop wishing, or it's a victim mentality, right? It's having like kind of a pity party for yourself. It's pitying yourself. Why isn't it already different? No, steps. You want to make things different? You build those blocks. And the blocks of the life that you want, build the life you want. It's not rocket science. But if you just wish it was already done, that's never going to happen. So very important concept, and very important not to mix the unhappy space with the power of visualization. They go in different directions. One is accepting where you are and plotting, aiming, firing. Another is a fundamental key difference. You never accepted where you were. You never accepted the present moment. We get into the present moment. When we visualize, we go deep into the present moment, and then we manufacture, we create in the present and target our life. We calibrate our brain to recognize things. We build our mirror neurons. We build our emotional resonance. We build in the now for the now that we want. That's totally different than denying the now, denying the present, denying the is that what is, denying it is as it is. So very important, guys, very important distinction. If you have questions about this video, if you don't understand it, please go in the chat and voice them. But I hope you guys take this to heart and just look for the unhappy space in your life. Ask yourself where it's coming from. What are you attached to? What's causing it? All right, guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.